on my thing.
You don't want to do it?
I haven't seen Andrew in this retreat without a cup in his hand.
How do you do it?
Yeah, but
Just keep yourself plugged in and
Welcome back. Hi, good evening. Oh, thanks. You guys can hear me okay, right? Yeah. All right. Just because somebody was playing around with the AV stuff. Thank you, all of you who are doing that. Appreciate it. Okay. Follow some Holy Spirit and God in a minute. What's our theme for this weekend? Very good. What was our first talk about? Being light to who? Okay, others who were specifically, like, is it people who are sick or tired or in prison or anything like that? That was our first talk, or no? Who was it? It was, who's our example? Who was the story about? The Samaritan woman. And in that story, she kind of symbolized the average, everyday person that we come in contact with. Maybe that we see, at school, water cooler, whatever. And we talked about how to approach her, right? What was our second talk about? Yeah, very good. Light is specifically the kind of people who are hurting somehow. Someone who's sick, someone who is homeless, poor, in prison, something, right? So now this third talk we're going to talk about. So our first one was light to the lonely. If you want to, just for your own thought. Light to the lonely. Second one is light to the, I forgot, it was something. And this one is light to the leper. Okay? Light to the leper. Anyone know what a leper is? I had a picture, but it was too gross, and I don't want to gross people out. What's a leper? I took it out of the PowerPoint just because, for your own edification.
So it's basically you just can't lose control of certain limbs.
Okay, yeah, very good. It's a disease. It does affect your nervous system. Yeah, it's real nasty. Yeah, it's nasty. Okay.
why don't you get a picture?
Huh? Yeah, very good. Very good. In the old school days, having leprosy was like the worst thing ever because not only are you sick, but nobody want to talk to you. You can't sit with us at lunch because we got leprosy. Okay? You got to be out of here. Okay, very good. So we have a little bit of a background. So that's why our talk is going to have this title about light to the leper, and we're going to talk about what that means exactly. Hopefully my clicker problems continue. All right. So we said who were the lepers back then? And people who had this deforming disease. So one problem is, like my man was beginning to say here, it hits your nerves and it begins to numb you up, and you actually begin to lose appendages. You can begin to lose fingers and stuff like that, and you get boils all over your face, all over your body. It's not a good look. It's really painful. Yeah.
Apparently they prove that you don't actually lose.
Say again?
You don't actually lose
No, you do.
What?
Yeah.
Because I read certain things that say you
No, that's okay. No, you do. That's all right. We can talk later about it.
just to get the people scared.
No, you do.
Oh.
So actually, modern day leprosy right now is obviously not nearly as common as it used to be, and it's curable. There's a cure for it. Yeah, you can cure it. But it's still really contagious and really difficult and a really awful disease because it's caused by a weird bacterium called mycobacterium. So anyway, we're not going to get too detailed, but the point is, for context back then, like you guys told me, it was something that made you ostracized from the community. When you have it, nobody wants to talk to you. And it was physically painful, and it was emotionally painful. So all these things made it tough. And that's why you see in this icon here, break stuff, whatever. It's Christ speaking the leper. And we're going to talk about this miracle. We're going to talk about this miracle and one more. Talk about this is a New Testament miracle. Like I told you in the beginning of the intro, we're taking 3 New Testament encounters of Jesus with somebody to learn something about how Jesus handled these situations. I also want to throw in an Old Testament one just to keep you on your toes and see if you remember, like there's another half of the Bible. 2 Kings 5 is this story that I want to share with you real quick. And it begins with this, right? It says this guy Naaman. Anybody familiar with this story? Some of you, okay, great. Sunday school is doing it big time. Saturdays, all right. Okay? This guy Naaman, I love his name. Naaman was the commander of the army of the king of Syria. He was great and honorable, and he was awesome, but he was a leper, it says. So this guy, who's like a big boss in the army, he's like a big deal. Right? Looks something like, dang, you see Naaman coming? Naaman's a big deal. However, Naaman's a leper. Oh man, that's a real game changer for Naaman. It's a real like killer for his vibe. It's not a good look. Okay? And then it happened when the king of Israel read, I skipped a little bit. So in the middle, Naaman talked to his like boss, and he was like, hey, I heard that in Israel, they can do this, they can do something about leprosy. They can cure them. They can figure out a way to fix it. Okay? So he sends this letter from his boss to Israel to say, hey, you guys are like leprosy fixing people. Figure something out for my leprosy because it's really like putting it down on me. So then, like it says here in verse 7, the king of Israel reads the letter and tore his clothes and said, am I God to kill and make alive? This man sends a man to me to heal him from his leprosy. Oh, come on, he's just trying to fight. Why do I tell you this story real quick? So far, what do we have? We have this guy Naaman, leprosy. And we have him going to Israel, say, hey, Israel, fix my leprosy. Our conversation for this evening, for this talk, is going to be modern day leprosy. Not the disease itself, whether or not it knocks out fingers, but there are situations in the church and in our community that are like the leprosy of the age. In other words, something that people struggle with that is so embarrassing and so difficult that our community is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Keep that outside, my man. There's no room for that in here. We don't need that. There are some diseases that we all have. We get some colds, get some Zukam and some flu, leprosy. What are we talking about and how do we handle them? That's going to be our question. The first thing, before we talk about what are they in more detail, the point of this story here, or the beginning of this story, is how we handle leprosy. Is God is not expecting us. So this guy flipped out. He's like, there are people that have issues, and I can't fix them all. I can't deal with them. And are they expecting me to fix them all? Are they expecting me to make it all better, make it all go away? And the point here is no, we're not expected to make it all go away. So as I begin to introduce you to some of these topics, I'm not going to talk to you about them tonight. Just say, hey, by the end of this retreat 2016, our goal is that we fix all of them. It's a lot of pressure. We're not going to be able to fix a lot of these. We're not going to be able to look at them and like make them all A-okay. But the goal at least is to begin to talk about them and say, some of these leprosy things we're going to expose. Let me ask you some quick questions about these modern day leprosy things. There's a big study that was done across all churches in the United States and Canada. They asked the following question: can prayer and Bible reading alone cure mental illness? Mental illness, for example, if you know people who are your age who have major depression, anxiety disorder, addiction disorders. So give me a hand, and I'm just going to do the survey live with you here. For yes, I believe these things can and should be cured by prayer alone. Hand raise. Will you rephrase the question? Yeah. Okay. mental health stuff like major depression, people who are suicidal, people who have anxiety disorders, people who have addiction disorders, can and should be cured like by prayer, Bible, communion, stuff like that. Alone, that'll do it. That'll fix that stuff. Just give me a hand raise for that. Okay. All right, good. Good. Second question, is that stuff, is specifically depression and anxiety and that stuff, is that a sin? Hand raise for yes. Hand raise for no. Okay, very good. Very good. So we got the second part correct. And that stuff is not a sin. The first half, in the study, 48% of people in the church said we can cure all this stuff with Bible, prayer, communion, nothing else. Okay? Yeah.
Because, like, so basically, you can share it with the church, is that like people?
Yeah.
Like,
What?
like people coming to talk to you, or like it's just prayer?
No, just everything in church, like Bible study, prayer, communion, all that stuff, cures that stuff.
So how would people how does it work?
What do people, what do you,
Well, like if you had someone, like some
like friends, servants, stuff like that?
No, some mental health specialist.
Like professional? No, that was not part of the equation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it practically can, because there's like Tylenol for colds.
Yeah.
And there's like Tylenol for back pain. But the Bible and prayer is like the Tylenol for everything. All the problems.
That's very spiritual. I would tweet that too. The Bible is like Tylenol for everything. Come at me, what? Tylenol loves when you say something. Yeah. Huh.
I don't think it does, because to get rid of depression, sure you should read the Bible and take communion and pray, of course. But I think to cure depression, you still need to be around some people that can help you.
All right. I like what you're saying. My man over here, go ahead.
I think that like it can in some cases, but can't in some. Like if it's like you're depressed or like an addiction problem, it could be like it's a good gateway, a good habit to get into, and like it could be something like you get like really into. But some people are just like not as sort of in depth with just like the Bible.
Okay. Buddy? You got something? Or you were just stretching?
I forgot what I was saying.
All right, I'll come back to you. Go ahead.
I don't think it's something just with Bible reading prayer, because at least also there was like a study and people could say based on characters in the Bible and words they use and how they act that like this person could have had depression and they were one of them. I think a lot of the songs it's pretty like
Depressing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's not like there was like a name.
It wasn't there about. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not something like, it's the same way you can't cure cancer with Bible and prayer. Like, God has sent you people to like, help you with your cancer. God has sent you people for your mental health, but it's not like.
Okay. I like it. Any other thoughts? Yeah?
Well, I think God can cure these, but not the church.
Okay. God, but not necessarily the church. Okay.
I think like it depends on the disease, the illness. Like for example, anxiety was like if you know that like there's like passages in the Bible that says like God will take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
So some illnesses would be cured by reading the Bible, but some like there's some that like you have to like get professional help.
Okay.
It's like, okay, so, yeah, the Bible, it's possible, but the thing is, you still don't, you shouldn't, it's not like 100% dependent on it. It's similar to like praying that you could get 100 on the test and not study. You still have to go to a doctor, you still have to talk to friends, you still have to do things.
Okay.
You don't just like read the Bible and say.
All right. Go ahead. Mm.
It could make it better because you can find things that actually like help you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think because like there is different forms of depression, you
Uh-huh.
can't necessarily expect like actually got like some sort of relationship. It doesn't have to be with human to human. You have it human to God, and if it works out well, it will get fully out of depression or anxiety. You might need someone's help.
Okay.
But if there was like a real mental illness or something to that person, then I think God sends you someone to take care of you. That's God's way of curing mental illness. That can't literally be controlled.
All right, excellent. So just for the sake of time, I'm sorry, just one like thought person on this topic. It's great that we have a lot of thoughts on this stuff. I'm really like impressed by that, and it's good also we're kind of split down the middle. Some people are saying this, some people are saying that, and the whole talk is not about this. This is just one of the many things I'm going to mention. But with this, I just want to give you a quick summary of what the church believes, because we're kind of guessing a lot. We're like, oh, I think it's this, I think it's that, I think it's this, I think it's this. Let me just tell you flat out what the church says. The church says depression can sometimes be a vague term. It's one thing to say like I'm sad or I feel down or whatever. If you just feel depressed and you just feel like you're down, that's not the same thing as having major depressive disorder. That is a disease. And that, the church tells you, the number one thing you should do, pray, read your Bible, go to the doctor. That's what every bishop in North America will tell you. That's what they've said openly and consistently. That's what the church believes. Go to the doctor, take medication, and keep praying, and keep going to church, keep taking the Eucharist. But we do not believe in the Orthodox Church that prayer alone is the answer for illness. That's not our belief. Whether that is diabetes, or back pain, or mental health stuff. The issue with mental health stuff is that it's more leprosy-ish. I can tell you, statistically, a good amount of us have some mental illness stuff in the family. If I was to ask you, nobody would raise their hand. Nobody would say, oh yeah, no, I got this one uncle. Woo! We all have that one uncle, okay? And the Coptic stats are the same as everybody else's statistics, okay? We all have people in our families, or at least either we have someone or we know someone who's Egyptian and Coptic and in our community that's struggling with anxiety or depression or bipolar disorder or something more serious. Bless you. And just to kind of put it to rest, it's very important for you to keep in mind what the church actually believes about this. Go to the doctor, take medication, no problem with it. Keep reading your Bible, keep praying, and God, like my man was beginning to say, uses this stuff to be a part of your being. The reason I bring it up is because of all the churches that I've had this survey with, the consistent answer is exactly like you guys are saying. 50-50. 50% are saying, no, doctors for what? It's not really a disease. 50% are saying, no, God uses doctors. And it was even more troubling. One time I gave a talk in I think it was a pharmacy school. So everybody was, oh, what's wrong with that? I'm saying it was a bunch of people who are healthcare students, and they were still like, no, I don't think we should give any medicine. Because you have a pharmacist. You guys are dispensing medication. But no, but not for mental health. That's a sin. So I want you to know what the church believes. That it's not a sin, and that God uses doctors for healing. Second leprosy survey question. True or false? Someone dealing with either gender identity or sexual orientation. I told you we're talking about things that you don't want to talk about. We're talking about things that are leprosy things that we never hear in the church because we need to hear about it. Let me ask you the second question before the first question. Have you ever heard of talk in the church about identity, gender identity, sexual stuff, that kind of stuff? Okay, some people have. Yeah. Yeah, okay, good question. So, you know how, I think it's a big thing also, like in the news in Canada too, of people identifying as male, female, transgender. There's like a whole list of vocabulary. And it's a serious thing for people, right? Of how, and there's like a lot of terms that I'm still learning actually, of how someone identifies or understands their own gender, okay? And then how someone understands their own attraction to other people. That's their sexual attraction. Are they attracted to males or females or whatever? Okay? are things that are happening in our society, and sometimes they happen in our church. When they happen in our church, when someone that you know is struggling with this, or thinking about this, or like it's come up somehow in their life, what is our reaction? Is this a kind of leprosy that's like, hey man, you're cut off from the church, you can never enter the church again? So I'm just going to ask you the second question first, then the first one. Have you heard any teaching on this before in the church? Okay, so that's the common answer, is that it's rare. Some people have, maybe you've had some classes in the church, I'm saying, what the church believes about this stuff. Okay, very good, very good. And then the first question. So some of you guys have, most of us have. The first question, if someone is dealing with this, true or false, they should be cut off from the church. False. Very good. Very good. You guys have the right attitude there. And we were talking about this a little bit during our little Q&A time, whatever. What makes this so difficult is that we want to give the official Orthodox perspective, which what we believe, that marriage is always between one man and one woman, and all these kind of things that are all true. And things for us are very black and white. They're very clear. It's not so confusing as it is with the rest of the world. However, our first move, if we see that someone is struggling with an issue that's hard to talk about and hard to get into, is to know that we can love and welcome people, especially if they're from within our own community. And I'll tell you even more than this. I've been out to the west coast of Canada and the east coast of Canada a couple times. And there's been several instances where I've sat down with someone in a retreat. It's like, hey, I've never told this to somebody, but I'm struggling with this. And when I open up about it to friends, people just make fun of me. People are just like, but it's hard for me. It's a struggle. It's not something and I feel like my church should be more supportive. So I want to be a Christian. I want to do all the right stuff. I don't feel supported. That's with gender. That's with sexual preference. That's with, I had someone tell me the same thing about depression. It's like someone sat me down and was like, sometimes I feel like I want to hurt myself, and people just keep telling me to read Philippians, and I do, and I'm still feeling the same way, and I feel like I should be supported more. I tell you this because now, even as young as you are, you can have people who are having these thoughts in the church, and your first thing, the reason I tell you is for two reasons. One is your reaction has to be loving and supportive, and two, you got to know when to tell a servant, hey, I think somebody needs a little bit of help because they're thinking about this. They've been thinking about cutting themselves. They've been thinking about hurting themselves. They've been thinking about this and that. And it's in the church. So we all need to be aware of it, and it's not leprosy. It's not something that we have to just pretend never happens, never listen to, and never talk about. Does that make sense? You had a comment?
Well, yeah, there's not to be opposing or anything, but there's another side of it, because God created Adam, but for a companion, he could have just created another man, but instead he created a new gender, which is the woman. So it's like they connect more to
No question. Okay, look, let me just clarify. What? You see again, get to. So, what we believe about a man and a woman and the relationship of marriage between one man and one woman is solid. I mean, we're not going to get too much into that, but I hope that part is clear to you, okay? Because that's what we believe in the Orthodox Church, and we're not apologetic about it, but we're not mean about it either. This is what we believe. We believe everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but this is what we believe. However, if someone is struggling with, we also don't believe, we believe that someone should be having, sexual relations before marriage? No. But if someone has that or is doing that, our reaction is not like, whoa, what's going on over there? All right? Yeah. Our reaction, shh. I'm not pointing nobody, I'm pointing. Our reaction, Our reaction is first and foremost showing people love and showing people that there is forgiveness. And then also, like we were talking about in the Q&A, that there is speaking our truth in love. Does that make sense? I know these topics are difficult, but I feel compelled to talk about it sometime. Okay? So the mental health thing, the identity thing, and then we'll talk about some other things that are also difficult. Or at least I'll gloss over them. Come on. Okay? These are what we said, like, people who are suicidal or depressed, drug addiction, maybe that's not as prevalent. I know 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine attended a funeral. Promiscuous is a multi-syllable word for, like, doing bad things with boys and girls. Come back. I know actually the promiscuous thing is not as, like, we do talk about lust a lot in the church. When we talk about that kind of head on, and it's almost talked about too much, to be honest. But we don't talk about, like, things like I was beginning to tell you. 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine attended a Coptic funeral of a young person who overdosed on drugs. And it wasn't the first time that happened. Before that, recently, there was a young Coptic person who committed suicide, or another young Coptic person out east who was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are things that are happening, and again, I don't tell you this, oh man, man, I'm in grade 7, I don't need to know about this. The reason why you do need to know about it, at least in concept, in the beginning, is to know that it's there, and to know that we as a church are not closing our eyes to the rest of the world and closing our eyes to what's happening inside our walls, and to know that we're willing to deal with leprosy. We're willing to deal with the difficult issues. Our church, the Orthodox Church specifically, has never been afraid to talk about difficult things. We've never been afraid to talk about things that are like head-on, difficult, challenging. Okay? And specifically, I mentioned it to say, when we know somebody who's dealing with something like this, the word of caution that I have on the bottom is, first of all, none of us are like some lone hero savior that it's your job to fix everything. It's not. Especially if that person is of the opposite gender, you're not advised to be the one to be the savior of this person. Nobody here, we don't believe in that as a church. We believe that we're a body, that we're together. So if I hear somebody telling me, hey, they're dealing with something, struggling with something, I go and tell my servant, your servants are fantastic. They'll hear you out, say, oh, let's figure out what we can do to help. But if you're not even listening for that kind of stuff, and you don't have the compassion and love to say, I got to figure out how I can help, and I got to see who I can call and say, hey, help me out, there's something happening here. Then we just close our eyes, and what do? There's always that one person, oh, this guy used to be in the church, he's not anymore. Now he's just doing this, this, and this, and this, and you wait to just read about him in the news. But it doesn't have to be that way. Especially in a community, I mean, I know you guys are a big community now in Calgary, but still like small enough where you can know people, right? Like sometimes, the unfortunate thing out east is like, within 50 miles, there's 35 churches. Nobody knows anybody. Anyway. Moving on to lepers. So, going back to our guy Naaman, when he went to Elijah, when he went to Israel to get fixed of his leprosy, there was a prophet there, this guy named Elisha. Okay? And he was a man of God, and he heard that the king, remember the original reaction, the king was like, oh man, I can't fix this. What am I supposed to do? And you might be having that same reaction. Man, tell me some heavy stuff. There's some crazy stuff. Heroin and, what? We were just playing egg dropping outside. This is kind of intense, okay? So you can have that reaction of, what am I supposed to do? It's not my problem. Leave me alone, man. Go back to New York and have some pizza or something. Our reaction, though, is like Elisha. Elisha's reaction was, just calm down. Calm down for a second. He said, why have you torn your clothes? He said, please let him come to me. And he'll know that there's a prophet in Israel. He'll know that we have a role in the healing of these things. He'll know that we have a role in the healing of these leprous, tough things. And he sent a messenger, and he said, go wash in the Jordan, and you'll be clean. Story continues. Cool. Okay. Here's another important point. So how did Naaman react? So Elisha said, okay, you're struggling with something hardcore. Oh my gosh. Naaman, you're a leper. You're like doing something really, really bad, really, really wild. Nobody wants to talk about it. And we are trying to help you. Elisha says to him, no problem, I'll fix it. Go take a shower. So Naaman is like, hey man, He became furious and said, "Indeed, I said to myself, you surely go, come out to me, and stand, call on the name of the Lord, wave his hand over the place, and heal my leprosy." Quote of that. Elisha said something mad simple. Naaman expected something super complicated. Sometimes when we're dealing with a complicated issue, these leprosy issues that people are dealing with, again, our goal not to fix everything, but just one simple step forward. One simple step. Sometimes we think like this Naaman guy here, he thought Elisha was going to come and do like the whole like thing. He's going to wave his hands, he's going to jump up and down, he's going to do a cartwheel, and then heal him of his like, to do all this stuff, elaborate stuff. And sometimes we think, like when I'm sitting down with people sometimes and they ask me a question, it's a very simple question, so I give a very direct answer. Like, do this. And they're like, yeah, but like, do you have like a more complicated thing to do? I'm like, no, just do the simple thing. We sometimes do the same thing with each other. Like, if we're looking for an answer for something, if we're looking for the next step, I'll give you an example. Have you ever been, like, maybe talking to a Buddha, and he'll tell you, Habibi, are you reading the Bible? Like, no. Give me something. Okay, that's the first simplest thing. Are you even reading your Bible? That's not what this is about. Because I don't know anything, and I can't make decisions, doesn't mean I should be reading my Bible. Naaman was waiting for something complicated. Christianity, a lot of times, is not complicated. It's not complicated. It's simple. Sometimes it can be tough, it can be challenging, but it's not about being complicated. And with these leprosy issues, our first step could be like a very simple step that nobody does. Hey, see somebody struggling, show them love. Yeah, okay, but like then what? Man, don't worry about it. Just do the first thing first. Nobody's doing the first thing. You see somebody really struggling with an issue, allow them to really believe that they can be accepted and forgiven by God no matter what. Yeah, but like then what? Man, come on, man, do that one. Do you really think that if people that we know who are struggling with these leprosy type things, drugs and crazy stuff and whatever, and they really experience that they can be, they really experience that they can be forgiven and loved by God, that truly, that they will just like gloss over it and walk away? No, it would be a big deal. But we want to skip 15 steps ahead. And so, yeah, they believe that God loves them and they're being forgiven and everything's fantastic. And now they're in rehab and like 15 things down the road. Begin with the simple. Begin with the simple. And I referenced the Acts Council. There was a thing in Acts where there was a whole big thing with the people who were newly Christians. And they realized that with the new Christians, they were being asked to do a whole bunch of stuff that may not necessarily be like necessary. So the church wrote like their first little proclamation letter, said, hey, our big thing is that we don't want to put things on you that are not necessary, that are not an overburden. We want to do the same thing for people. Sometimes when we see somebody struggling, our question for ourselves, what is the simplest first thing we can do? Make sense? Just one step, like it says. So then, what happens here is after Naaman flips out and says, like, how come you didn't wave your hand and do a cartwheel? One of his servants was like, come on, man. Like, just because he asked you something simple, why don't you just do it? If he asked you to do something complicated, wouldn't you have done it? So why not just try the simple thing? Sometimes it's the same for us as well. Like when you see his response, he says, my father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more then when he says to you, wash and be clean? Like I was just mentioning, how we all yawn, and we're beginning to yawn now, at like simple Christian advice. Like, hey man, do you have your own Bible? How many people have their own Bible? Very good, very good. Not one that like collects ducks at home, but it's like yours. You take it with you. Very good. Do you have your own prayer regimen? Do you have your like all these things that are like nice and keep like basic and easy? I just saw it running, so that's my instinct. Sometimes we're like, no, give me something harder. Like, give me like more like weird prayers to say or something. And it's like, no, just begin with the basic. And when you really apply the basic, it goes a long way. All right, we're almost done. I want to just share with you one last thing about the New Testament story with leprosy, with Christ interacting with this leper, before we close. In the story with Jesus, a very short story, just a couple of verses, where he says, there was a guy who was full of leprosy. He saw Christ, said, Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean. And Jesus put his hand on him and touched him and said to him, I'm willing, be cleansed. Why is it a big deal Jesus touched him?
Because you're not supposed to get close to that.
Very good, not supposed to get close. What else? Yeah? I agree, but why? Yes. Grow. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes.
Isn't it contagious?
Yes.
I think it's like Jesus reaching out to him.
Yes.
So you can't like help someone if you're like you don't really have a relationship with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good. All perfect things. Like you guys are saying, can you imagine when the last time this guy was touched by anybody? It probably was like never, or it's been like years and years and years and years. Jesus was the first person to come close enough to actually touch this person. And like you're saying too, he was close enough to actually make contact with this person. Actually close enough that this guy knows that he cares about him. Even though it's contagious, but he's Jesus, so he like healed him and stuff. For us sometimes, when we're dealing with someone who's struggling with like a leprosy kind of issue, all those things that are heavy and tough that we talked about, and as we're being supported by the church, it's tough because we have to allow ourselves to be close enough, like arm's length from the person. This is not the kind of thing that you can fix by text message. Not the kind of thing where you can show that you're present by like sending them a Snapchat. You got to be close enough to say like, close enough to feel what they feel. Because that's what we would want. When you're, think about this, when something's wrong with you, when you're hurting, when you're upset, if you want someone to feel what you feel, if you want someone to make you feel better, they're not going to like send you an email and touch you. Like, not touch you physically, but touch you, like, connect with you. And say, like, what's happening? What's up? You all right? Share with me. To show someone that we care enough about them. Like, you know when sometimes we all have this thing of, like, small talk with people. Like, maybe you even do it when you're young. Like, she's like, oh, how are you? But you don't really care how they are. Hey, how's your day? How's your weekend? Oh, okay. Basically, like, don't tell me too much because I don't care. But with this, we want to be able to say, tell me because I actually do care. That's like our first step in healing leprosy within our church, within our community. And then, even greater, is how we can begin to heal it outside of our community. It's tough to talk about these issues, and we never do. But it's one of the ways, I promise you, like the brightest ways, God bless you, we can shine and be like a light in this world, is when someone is in so much darkness, and you can give them a little bit of that light, it transforms people. It's one of those things, I'll give you like the flip side of it. I've seen people in the church who were struggling with these things, and he's going, man, you know, because of just a simple friend of mine who was there for me at the right time in the church, like, I'm still alive. They kept me on the right track, and like, I didn't hurt myself, or I didn't, go further into drugs or all that kind of stuff. Because someone just took the time, like someone just told me this last week. They said, this was one of the first times in my life where I felt like someone was listening to me because they care about me as a person. So that's an opportunity that we have. It's a golden opportunity. It's a golden privilege and blessing that we get to care for people who are dealing with this leprosy type stuff. All right? Glory be to God forever. Right? Anything? Any questions? Yeah.
So, topic of depression. How do you know if it's like medical depression, if it's like a symptom of
Yeah.
Like, and how do you know that they do, without when the person doesn't know responsible for things, like, now what? And it's like, now you're still responsible now because you put into it.
This is a good question. So how do you know with depression if it's like just someone feeling down because stuff happened, or if it's something medical and seriously needs treatment? If someone is not sharing with you, it's hard. It's hard to just guess it, right? But if they are able to share with you just in terms of, like, just hey, how have you been feeling, like how long it's been happening, stuff like that, I won't give you like all the criteria, but part of it is just a definition of how long this has been going on. If someone's been feeling this for more than 2 weeks, chances are, we all get down sometimes. You have a bad day, you drink some bad shay or something, and you have a bad day. You know, it happens. There's no hot chocolate. It's a bad day. Yeah. Good morning. This guy just woke up. Right? So it happens that we have a bad day or 2 or 3 or whatever. But one thing you can think about is time. If it's 2 weeks. And the other thing is function. And you can kind of see this from the outside. If it looks like it's interfering with how, like with their schoolwork, or with like, if they work, if they're older, if they're not, like, you know, if they're not doing the stuff they used to do, they're not playing sports like they used to, their grades are slipping, that kind of stuff, you can kind of tell from far away. This now might be something, and you don't have to be so crystal clear in your own answer. If it looks like it might be more serious than just them being down about something, get some help. Go to a service and say, hey, I don't know, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think this guy, you know, is struggling with something. Help me figure out how to help him. Yeah.
What if it's someone from outside of church?
Mm-hmm.
Someone from church, and then you see them struggling. What do you do? Like, you can't tell us that.
Good point, yeah. You can't tell a servant, but if it's like someone from school, let's say, or work, or whatever. School? Okay. So someone in school, and you have like enough relationship with them to like, for them to tell you if it's depression, like how long it's been, how they've been feeling, and how it's impacting their life, that kind of stuff. Right? If that happens, I would then begin to explore with them, like, have they ever seen somebody or talked to somebody about that kind of stuff? You know? And if they haven't, like, why? Do they believe it's something shameful? Like, culturally, it's getting better even in North America. I'll tell you, for us as Coptic people, it's getting better because we even started, like, there's a Coptic clinic in New Jersey for mental health where a priest treats, like, mentally ill Coptic people all day. And there's a huge center in the South, in Florida, where there's like addiction services, mental health services, and there's a big referral network in California, and I'm sure there's stuff like in the works for you guys in the diocese. Like, it's something that we as a church are like working on actively. But if it's something in school, I would then begin to see, would you be open to seeing like a counselor, like something like that, to kind of connect them with some more help. You know? Yeah. Good question. Good question. So what do I mean when I'm talking about if someone is of the opposite gender, that it's not like really on a roll? It's very, 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 very important, especially like in your particular age group, but even later on. Like, this was a personal rule for me. Like, I had very clear, or we all need to have very clear boundaries when we're dealing with the opposite gender, especially if someone is like vulnerable. If someone's vulnerable, oftentimes they're better served. If you're talking with a guy servant will be much more equipped to deal with a guy. And you, as a young lady, it's better for you to be served by a young lady servant. That's better for the person who's being served, as well as better for the servant. These boundaries, these gender boundaries, are really like helpful and good and like therapeutic. Oftentimes we ignore them and we figure, like, no, I just care about him so much, like, I just want to make sure he's okay. Like, I get it, but like, don't. Okay? Just don't. Just tell a servant and don't take it. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, and I think this is better with our own generation, but like the parents' generation are really scared that their kids are going to catch the leprosy. So that it's
Right.
How do we deal with that, even as servants, kind of parents, and then as kids that might not be spiritually strong to deal with these things, but like, you don't want them to ignore it either, right? So,
Yeah. It's a good point. And like kind of like we were saying a little bit in the Q&A, part of this is that, again, we're not saying like one of us should go into like a leprosy camp. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of like a simple numbers game. You know, if one of us knows one person who's struggling with something, I can talk to them, and it's not always like contagious, so to speak. You know, I'm not going to be influenced by them all the time, but just by me, like trying to be aware of where they're at and stuff like that. Is they don't want you like hanging out with a whole. Oh, like I know this crowd at school, like they always go smoke weed, but like I think I should really help them not smoke weed. Like, hey guys, stop with the weed. Not a great strategy. No. I'm really talking more about one-on-one kind of person, someone that you interact with anyway. No matter how much our parents want us to be sheltered and be in like a little bubble and stuff like that, you won't be. You're dealing with people in your society who are struggling with like difficult issues. And all this is for you to be comfortable enough to love one person at a time. One person. Not get so into a circle of people. That's why the very, very, very important thing is that you're maintaining a circle of friends in the church that are helping you grow spiritually. And that circle of friends, maybe even one other person, that's the person that you talk about. Say, hey, you know what? I'm praying for a friend at school. Or I'm praying for a friend that used to be at church, they're not at church anymore, because they're now off on the deep end. So I don't know if that answers it fully, because it's a difficult thing, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but at least what we don't want to do is be separatists. Like, we want to be like, okay, anybody that's sinning in the world, we're going to run away from them. It doesn't work. It only works in monasticism. That's the only place that you can like escape like the universe. We can't escape them because we live and work and interact with people all the time. But what we can do is try to maintain enough, and like you guys were saying in the workshop too, like get enough light that when you're giving light, you can only give what you have. You can't give stuff that you don't have. Yeah. It's a very good question. Whether it's someone who's, oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what do you do if someone is not a Christian, is an atheist, and they have like a drug and alcohol problem? What would be like their reason to stop? What would you do? What would be their moral reason to do anything different? Right? Yeah.
I guess you gotta help them anyways, because even if they're not Christians, they're still people.
Yeah.
You gotta help them anyways. And it's like something like something Christian to do would be to help them. And to help them, you don't need to like refer them to certain, you can go talk to them, maybe like talk to maybe someone older and then tell them, I know someone with this problem and can you help them out a bit?
Very good point. So I'll just add two things to that. One is when we're helping somebody, especially with like addiction and stuff like that. Studies are now showing more and more that the big issue people that like are driving people into that stuff is a lack of connection. Like a connection, lack of community. So it's even before they get to the point of believing in like Christianity or whatever. One thing we can do, like we showed here, how can I take one step in allowing them to know that they're connected with me? I care about them. That's the first thing you can do as an individual. If they're like a girl that you know in your school, just know, hey, I care about you, and I'm going to ask about you. How are you? How are things? What's happening? That's the one thing. And the second thing is if it's a school person, there's resources in school. Say, hey, counselor, teacher, whatever, we need a little bit of help here with a friend of mine. What can we do? So the one thing is showing my own love and connection. Second thing is getting a resource from them. Yeah.
What if they have, what if they have other, obviously you have other friends, what if those other friends are also bad for you? Like if you have, like if it's drugs or if it's something else, what if they have these other friends, types of friends that are pretty much, like, who would it take to push, they're pushing them, but they're like, encouraging them?
And this is someone who's Coptic or not Coptic? Not Coptic and school. Okay. And that would be very common. Usually if someone's getting into like a weird kind of behavior, they're not doing it by themselves. And the question was, what if there's like a whole group of friends? And that's what I'm telling you. I wouldn't try to be going into infiltrate the group. I wouldn't try to go be a part of the group and change it. But the big thing that you can do is that one person that you can talk to and you say, get more into who they are as a person. Get more into why they're involved with this group of friends. And get more into knowing and allowing them to know that like there's an alternative, there's another group of friends that you can have. You could be friends with me and my friends. You know what I mean? Like you have your own circle. Allow them to come into that circle even occasionally. You know, just sit with us at lunch or something. That kind of stuff. Because it's hard to change a whole group of people. It's hard to like, but it's common that there's a whole lifestyle with several people together. Does that make sense? Any other questions? I know you guys are tired and it's late. Yeah.
Sorry, no, something I want to reemphasize is what Dana said earlier, which is patience. So all of the stuff that we're talking about now and all of the answers you guys are getting on how to address people both in the church and outside of the church, remember to be patient with these people. If somebody is out and they have a different group of friends and the lifestyle that you don't think is the best for them and you're just trying to connect, and you go out and eat with them twice and you're like, it's a bit of Jesus, like give it a bit more time. Sometimes these things take years. And the key here is your consistency and you show your patience with, or you show your love with patience and with consistency over time. And if they're allowing you to stay in touch through junior high, high school, university, that's actually incredible. So don't, like, that's a motivator to not give up on them, even if it looks like none of the behavior is changing. If once a month they're still willing to meet with you and to sit with you, keep holding on and keep messaging them once a month. If they're doing it once a year, message them once a year and meet with them once a year. So don't expect an overnight change.
Definitely. That's huge. Thanks. Because and on that note, like the point of what we're saying here, again, is not that we're fixing people overnight or whatever it is, but again, like it's the theme of the weekend. We're just being light. So be light as long as you can be light. And whenever you can be light. If someone's letting you be light this often, over this period of time, it's not any extra work for you. You're the Christian, you're the light. That's how you are. Okay? Thank you guys so much. Have a good